How did a handful of British colonies on the Atlantic coast grow into the global superpower we know today? The story of the United States is one of ambition, conflict, and relentless expansion. And it starts long before 1776. Let's rewind to the late 15th century. When Columbus stumbled upon the Americas, he thought he'd reached the East Indies and was thrilled to find gold for Spain. For the next century, Spain was laser-focused on the gold and silver mines of South and Central America, largely ignoring the vast continent to the north. While Spain was hauling treasure back to Europe, other powers like Britain and France saw a different kind of opportunity. They weren't finding mountains of gold, but they saw land, resources, and a chance to build a new world. They started planting colonies along the North American coast and inland waterways. By the mid-18th century, North America had become a chessboard for European empires, primarily Britain and France. Their rivalry boiled over into what Americans call the French and Indian War, which was part of a larger global conflict known as the 7 Years' War. From 1754 to 1763, the two giants clashed for control of the continent. Britain, with its powerful navy and colonial militias, ultimately emerged victorious. The 1763 Treaty of Paris was a game-changer. France was forced to cede Canada and all its territories east of the Mississippi River to Britain. Suddenly, the British Empire in North America was vast, but victory came at a huge cost. The war had drained the British treasury, and London decided the American colonists should help pay for their own defense. They slapped a series of new taxes on the colonies: the Stamp Act, the Townshend Acts, the Tea Act, to the colonists, who had no representatives in the British Parliament. This was taxation without representation. It was an outrage. Protests erupted, from the intellectual debates and pamphlets to the violent clashes like the Boston Massacre. The simmering anger boiled over, leading to the first shots of the American Revolution in 1775. A year later, on July 4, 1776, the Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence, officially severing ties with Britain. After a long and brutal war, with crucial help from France, the colonies won their independence. But winning the war was one thing, building a nation was another. Their first government, under the Articles of Confederation, was incredibly weak. It couldn't effectively tax, raise an army, or regulate trade. The young country was falling apart. So, in 1787, delegates met in Philadelphia to fix the problem. Instead of just tweaking the articles, they threw them out and wrote a whole new document, the United States Constitution. This brilliant framework created a strong federal government with a system of checks and balances. In 1789, the Constitution was ratified, and George Washington, the hero of the Revolution, was sworn in as the first president. The United States of America was truly born. With a stable government in place, the nation's leaders looked west. The continent was vast. And the idea of manifest destiny, the belief that the U.S. was destined to expand from coast to coast, took hold. The expansion began in earnest in 1803, with a deal that seems unbelievable today. President Thomas Jefferson purchased the entire Louisiana Territory from Napoleon's France for just $15 million. This single act, known as the Louisiana Purchase, instantly doubled the size of the country. The expansion didn't stop there. In 1819, the United States acquired Florida from Spain, which was struggling to control its colonial territories, and came Texas. American settlers had poured into the region, then part of Mexico, and in 1836 they declared independence. After nearly a decade as an independent republic, Texas was annexed by the United States in 1845. This move infuriated Mexico, leading directly to the Mexican-American War from 1846 to 1848. The U.S. victory was decisive. In the peace treaty, Mexico ceded a massive swath of land that includes modern-day California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, and parts of New Mexico, Colorado, and Wyoming. Later, in 1867, in a move widely mocked at the time as Seward's Folly, the U.S. purchased Alaska from Russia for $7.2 million. People thought it was a frozen wasteland, but it turned out to be rich in resources. As the nation grew, a deep and bitter divide was growing with it: the issue of slavery. The industrializing North had largely abolished slavery, while the agricultural South's economy was utterly dependent on enslaved labor. Every time a new territory was added, the question of whether it would be a free state or a slave state ignited a political firestorm. Compromises were made, but they were just temporary patches on a gaping wound. The tension finally snapped in 1861 after the election of Abraham Lincoln, who opposed the expansion of slavery. Southern states began to secede from the Union, forming the Confederacy. The American Civil War began. The 4-year conflict was the deadliest in American history, tearing families and the nation apart. It was a brutal modern war that saw incredible bravery and devastating losses. Ultimately, the industrial and demographic might of the Union, combined with Lincoln's steadfast leadership, proved too much for the Confederacy. In 1865, the Union won. The war accomplished two monumental things. It preserved the United States as a single, indivisible nation, and it led to the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery forever. The long, painful process of Reconstruction began, attempting to rebuild the South and integrate millions of newly freed African Americans into society. With the country reunified, the United States turned its attention outward once more. The late 19th century saw America join the age of imperialism. In 1898, after years of American business influence, the U.S. annexed the independent Kingdom of Hawaii. That same year, the Spanish-American War erupted. It was a short, decisive conflict. The U.S. easily defeated Spain, gaining control of its remaining colonies: Cuba, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. Overnight, America had a global empire and had announced its arrival as a major world power. But to be a true two-ocean power, the U.S. needed a shortcut. The journey around the tip of South America was long and dangerous. President Theodore Roosevelt, a man of immense ambition and energy, was determined to build a canal through the Isthmus of Central America. After supporting a Panamanian independence movement from Colombia, the U.S. secured the rights to build the Panama Canal. It was one of the greatest engineering feats in human history, a monumental project that cost thousands of lives and millions of dollars. When it opened in 1914, it was a triumph. The U.S. Navy could now move swiftly between the Atlantic and Pacific, projecting American power across the globe. From a few scattered colonies to a continental and then global power, the formation of the United States was a dramatic and often turbulent story of expansion, conflict, and transformation. It's a history that continues to shape not just America, but the entire world. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more videos.